abusia sisi amene wo kasa de yeto santen ekọ kwasi kwaten akache de anene ensem bi etwaguo a ene me de ebro ye nyina ye nim Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ene ye papa yera Kennedy akompreko Japan Franka wo mo pese wo muntu ewo NPP amanyeko no kame akoye se sisimpie pa ama ene amene wo kasa yi wo bia se nya de obe step down ama ne nyonko na numu ena kwasi kwaten de ensem bi aba betudwa na ni de mu ase efensa waba yenkoni enkotie insem bi akwati kwaten ede betudwa na yeba na matoso ede amount.
He's the Joshua of our time. He's built that remarkable track record of achievement, individual achievement. Nyuma we baby, we share the discipline as a man, what he has stood for as a man. Then abrabo ne bibia ne sese ya wo yebia. Nipa no mi de zuzu obia o ken de ye de emfata. Ne mu ade ambese obia kan ne say. Nyankopon, he doesn't call the qualified. He rather qualifies the called. God doesn't call the qualified. God rather qualifies the called. In this obisusu, and I can't there. Mamin come a video so. We are not saying Ken is spotless. Ken we nipa. Mizankum, maybe Timmy free, but in the Maya Ray. Debbie. And about him, dear Maya. Debbie. I better make a second coming in nipa boy, Jimmy, so no question. But in terms of me Juma was a me, now coupon whom bride, assume suma meeting me the sumni pania de adasa. In Kaza Ken, nipa sebium fonsonia de fonso, Mr. Modatown, fonso Ken ho, so Dr. Bawumia de but o she yina ye sinto enyina echia na enkomono ye say the obeti magic to me ama MPP in the year 2028. Nobody stands taller than Ira Kennedy Japan. And then I'll go use against him. Say, I may handle economy. There be, I mean, some joke. 2028 on the debate of the economy. Say NDC perform one. Bawumia has no place. And if you pick from 1 to 1:4 to 1:17, we buy in a space of 7 months. Of course, the factors can be interrogated. We don't give credit to them. Me, I'm an MPP true. No, on the year. But you see, at the end of the day, the evidence available, so on the face of the pink sheet, and the ordinary Ghanaian, assembly now become an idea at 20 teams on a day. Assuming, say, or the co 18, how do you then come to convince him to say, 17 was better than the 8, or you are coming to do a doctor of economics? Doctor of economics, at the end of the day, the economy broke down. That's a papa economy in the year. Yes. So, now, now you are not owing up to it. You've now turned into a new field, which is a friend say, IT digitalization. How then do you become a specialized and perfect in your area? How will people trust you? Network I call crowd when you be to the digitalization. Yes. As on automatic area. Now people don't score you higher marks there. So how then will people trust you for a new area that you are bringing? And the 2028, if the debate is on the economy, we have no place to stand. We need to get to be a one-year practical economists. And you must say why they will be workers said why they wafa. These are practical economy. Can you pinpoint A, B, C, D with him? You can't. And these are. So 2028, like I keep repeating, is about courage. If you're not boy, a Blekumanov na ye go dogana 72 hours or 24 hours what jatuma a Blekumanov do mo ko ye after 4 years na ye so for ye dey ebejem ombe pastor. So we need obi o could draw betimi dey the echo. We are not going to fight in 2028, but we are also not going to show weakness. One this year be dey and we need somebody like Kennedy Japan to take us to cross the battle line.
Now na nwi na betu dwa ya menim senka ye ka second chance there asori ya no yewura adom chedua na na asori no nti second chance there hwa no bi ade nani ko na yewuru ya na yewura oseche mensa bonsu ate asim ya wo kyerɛkyerɛ party abakwasem ya no kre ni me no kre de hu enkomo. Now second chance no ebi so asem o mo kan say wo obi a watimi aton no over 16 years o de na kɔ anye ye de but ebi a o ma no second chance na kan san de no kɔ bi mu a anka ebe ye second chance no onyintum ana sabre de wadwen asesa.
No, I mean, you see, bottom line is say in MPP no ya catch for party. The Zoka Wasema, Abribian is an opportunity for people to interrogate Wasema. And then people go out any party will be at Timichan Adre. And a meeting, we name one of them come about, other than this, on more primacy, the Ayente, Trika.
Some a party, the two net.
The two net. What are the names of the woman at the neighbor? Yeah. By Eddie, say a kind of clutch and who said the contest between Bawumia and Ken. And this, and one. Bawumia, Obi, who said the woman ever. So there was no competition. But in our case, there's competition because in MPP, we allow that. MPP will be unfun because they are doing a party. And now, no, dear, be a phrase, dear, be a chamun. Koba say a quembia solo with some baku no be a day, a dinner. And the is all we know was a quadrucas or decay here. Hey, as a woman say, inherent try to say, they have to enjoy everybody's apology when they are or big kilo. Hey, what big kilo is it? So they're over my council. So, and this other MPP there, can we give opportunity for participation? First of all, no crane, we are not saying people are not entitled to second chances. My election when my was Santiachim. Okay. My performance was not good. I don't think it would be fair for anybody to say because my performance was not good, we should not be unfair to Dr. Bawumia. No, nobody's saying that. I remember when I went to the north, and because say, is it because Dr. Bawumia not 19 and motivation? And I'm saying, no, not nobody pay. And even check the history of our elections here to general election. Indeed, look at his performance. 84.2% of the votes came from the southern part of the country. Okay. Do you hear that even that typically, unfortunately, even at the northern part, he rather reduced in vote by 16% compared to 2020 votes. Wow. And at the southern part, so it was also very dangerous. Southern part, general performance compared to Akufo-Addo 2020, will reduce by 33% votes. And at the general votes difference, also reduce by 30%. And what is the performance in this? Now let's even move the conversation beyond the figures and go to history. Okay. I mean for history in guide. In MPP, opinion ID card ne share enya akonya e more core prime minister obedi o man and ko journalist. Ne friend Professor Dubois. Omo de omo na cover party ne dey e buy. Professor Dubois, the first ever presidential race, these are the factors that were affecting him. Sabre na na transitioning from the military regime. Okay. Rollins yes wa chimamia brebu obonachi. Yes, we one you can democracy Republican states no now question the foreign powers na the press here and so just enye be me enhwe nti we dey amane ye beto but the crime for so we need me win. And in this case, despite that suppressive and hostile environment, Professor Dubois hintimi puli 1.2 million votes. Till 1.2 million votes. At the time, the percentage was 30.29%. And Rollins in 58.4. I mean, stress on the opponent side. History. Now, vote difference and then what President Rollins and the Professor Dubois in 1992 was 1.1 million. Okay. The votes difference between President Rollins and President Professor Dubois was 1.1 million votes in 1992. It was almost 2 billion. 96. Na party for no say Prof. 1.2 million votes difference. 1.2 na unya a year. Now votes difference ne move what to so 1.1. 1.1 there. Yenhwe ye dwen ho. Na President Kufuor the performance here campaign so about betima here ayade. No me control about President Kufuor. Na so wa una cover party by but enya the cover party by there asem. Enya professor asem we need power because you see your professors may be good with the ideas, but no matter how nice and lucrative the ideas are, if you don't have power, the ideas will be obsolete and so be another. So, and then the President Kufuor by President Kufuor Koyano, also a Koyano 2.83 million votes, representing 39.67%. And Russia, President Kufuor, the Professor Dubois, he votes from 30% the coin 39%. It was about 9% account. It was 9% account. On the quality votes difference, President Rollins at the 18 years 1.2 million. So the first one, Dubois 1.1, President Kufuor 1.2. Even though enough votes difference, in terms of the percentage, no, the BI I appreciate it. In the graph now, in MPP graph now. Kwana ekosro afa fi 30 or the 39 tie dru be ha ye hwe ya Akufo-Addo so be into President Kufuor nya 39 no den obi a wafa free from e de kosro no o ka chen se o ma na nya de enkobio na mpanifo se amfo na e de e che ne nto aso Ko papa no abo modern afi wo to ano so bia be hu ze ene ye de ne kwanimu ente sa ana the president ko for ko na second time no ye de okọ win in the 2000 ye de ye ba power no be 7 8 years we 7 8 years the good thing is na president ko for do nya kwanya aserve won amamum. But you see, context is very important. The highest officer na president ko for do nya kwanya aserve president ko for administration was the minister of state. Or the two ministers, okay. But who as Attorney General and Foreign Affairs?
Yes.
No, I'm a vice president. And this was in a space of what 8 years. Patrol emphasis should be on this. This was in a space of the 8 years. Foreign Affairs is not a ministry of my project. Because Sabra na black one abe say na black one reduce standard no. Na black one abe say na ukra medium ukra onya dey. Oh ma diplomacy language you nya kwanya kan. But dey bi adanam. Secondly, Attorney General ayi ba ko boda mo veze ni wan we o apayisi na yanko the papa ya o try our public
eh no media
e dey be o media mu enyo na ba Attorney General for kwa say da nya de enchomonka Dominic Ayeni o ba to omonka na mo court nti onye position bi otimi nya kwan e project ni hu bia but in 2008 for the first time in the history of MPP we won in the first round. Into we catch us MPP will win in the first round. That is not true. Akufo-Addo won in his first round, even though he didn't win the overall.
The percentage.
Yes. Akufo-Addo now 4.15 million votes. Me 2 million match we see. With 2 million match we see 4.15 million votes. Now representing 49.13%. And President Akufo-Addo 49.13%.
Better from 39.
Better from 39 to 49. Yeah. Even we the catch us on to others. And only JEM is 4.105 million votes. Nanim Akufo-Addo kwade difference votes na president go for the first and 1.2 million. Akufo-Addo tried who the 100,000.
Yes. So
already yes. Votes difference was 100,000 votes until say we call a second round now Okolusu was a time 23,000 votes or the Okolusi. The president Akufo-Addo kwade no they above from 1.2 million to 100,000. The expected president Dr. Bawumia so 400,000 no kra amfa bi ante so any kwan so man
even especially we share baby a obenya baby obedi ni positions obedi die na wo de no kra to nchen ya sabre no na media no enye bebre se ende kra na okasa ekọ baby a ene okasa edru Ghana baby
ma men kasa mo nchiro omo se o ye time media na party ni hwan in 2008 na party ni hwan he zizi we as BBAC ni a friend global economic recession Google 2008 Oko America omo economy kura dey crash certain governments all over the world lost one more time kura dey friends say factories and companies were declaring bankruptcy am I affected the developing economies like us ours yes Mekako for kura ko omo catch say he is the worst leader this country has ever had na some ko for catch was prosperity with jajas Mukai sabro mo to nim so mo fe na tayi ni ade obe wi aga na sika nyina na ye hukura hikura zizi and that they cried they say because the COVID in Tinkofo be hu ye mobo at that time there was no COVID it was a man-made artificial global recession
time obe free subrana omo ko contest and omo ko primary no ka say omo 2 days say akronfo dun so it is that time
yeah why but when even in spite of that, the President Akufo-Addo was able to put this performance 49.13 from 39 to 49. Now back to 2024 with President former Vice President Dr. Bawumia. Dr. Bawumia ba no expect say kono because of the history of ascension the trend no kono so betim dey there akosoro. Oba no contrary to what we all expected no. President Akufo-Addo votes na newo 6.7 million. One over obenya 4.65%. Into obete 49.13%, also about 41.61%. When you dey nationally, it shows that nationally Dr. Bawumia eti Akufo-Addo votes no nyina na performance no by 30%. What about the southern regions or so by 33%? Even in terms of North, rather compared to 2020, or so by a whooping 16%. And we share votes difference now. The votes difference was 1.67 million votes difference. And to run it up, you are looking at about 1.7 million votes difference. Now let's compare. Let's just small mathematics. Professor Dubois here, the gap was what 1.1. President Kufuor, the gap was what 1.2. In the case of Akufo-Addo rather gave the gap of 100,000 because Akufo-Addo only do. So how come say it drew the other about 1.67%? So which means that if you draw the graph, it's rather up, down. Opportunity rather they up, down. Now, as I'm you see, no man affected you know. Look where. No matter affecting any baby, you may look at a lot of perspective. I don't want to be a better in time along the way. But these are things that, if you take for instance economy, can you tell me, say, you as the head of the economic management team, nobody may you free, sir, economic debating. Who you free any day? If all good things you lay claim to it, why can't we also be responsible? Say, no, maybe so I take money. You can also lay claim to a certain also the account. Mami, any random factor you think affected us? Untimi nipa na no ye number 2 in your day. In film. Esa that will amount to throwing Akufo-Addo under the carpet. If it is say okojina takradia or car say or kai say by timer ye ba beto aba few days to elections na ya to fu omo ya mona mane. And many penny be din komo no ka kire me say Dr. Bawumia enim say I mean, your automatic adjustment system our Ghana as your tomb a year now automatically now reflected our Ghana. Yeah, and since I never when you been a son work. Sir, and come on, I'm working say minimum motion trying to run away from responsibility. That problem more the almost started with Takrade. It didn't start from Takrade. But we have not been bold to talk about it is the UPSA lecture. One more year lecture, almost the bold solutions. That was where the problem started from. You see, that lecture sought to make Bawumia own the good things in the party, but normal any biano. Yes, but you see, when you do that, it also shows that then party now you know maybe any day. It's say Becca say we are levy may ye free ho, we may ye free ho, we may ye free betting tax may ye free ho when he buy na minim, you to petrol na minimum. Let's also look at another alternative. Of course, said Dr. Penny, maintain change the one. But let's also look at a different form of communication. Mr. Nkunuma Bakacho say, oh, sa normal working na no ampa the said the ahoche any yawde kakra de aba. But the beer COVID this year, about seven, for Ghana Education Service alone, about 350,000 teachers. One me a for bear afe. You cheer Mocas will be a Jumada. I will be a tiffy for bear affair. Will be Uncle Jumas, you chianica. For insure a change free. For hospitals, a change. For Cania, until they won't check a cry a day, a bray, name, we are singing now. Until I'm pap once more casa, which Chaban, bear 10 tax, ye live in the Aban, and Pamidu to Missa, which I the Abba. Nemum, I take responsibility for it as a leader. Misaji tu mususu say masama mo kanu say dey chodo menemo yadwi nemum sese no ensese na de bae no eso aye dey awo eso abanfa so sese no hwe the economic trajectory eno ma ye dey efefe eno ma yeyi nti Nyankopon pa the next subsequent year moto aboma me aye dey ebesesa we are sure say Ghana for ntiase ka ye simple Ghana for ntiase say do baby krobi sa say me yes adwuma we nya me ba den na me okay President Kufuor o share boss President Kufuor share boss oba be so oba enkoyi no zi Ghana for say wo tie kira e different from so wa go prama na ye dey eso timo fa ye cheme that's how Ghanaians are. They just want to see you to be honest, to respect them, to understand their feelings, and then you appeal to them and they talk to you. That's how we say. But I say, oh, you live with the okra can omantia, omunyini. Menkaho, no munyade. Assembly na So I mean, in ending with a second chance conversation, one thing you also have to note, and they say, 2020 is going to be tough for 2028 is going to be tough for us. Let me give you a scenario and in 2020, President Mahama called elections with President Akufo-Addo. So okay, no truly President Akufo-Addo with 500, no truly Akufo-Addo with 1 million votes difference. Because 2016 Akufo-Addo share with 1 million votes. Yes. President Mahama called elections, adia President Mama you olusu lesson pa but you see a man in the space of 72 hours to declare it was on election when they olusu won ko win ya be can be assessment you also ko more comfortable lead no ko lead with 148 seats members of parliament seats and sir 148 just one near press conference anybody was akwa near 137
yes
now for 1 million wa chemu to 500,000 experience no yede no
Abusi akwa babiem aha eye mama radio din no e de shodi na egu nkoma twetwe ne so a nti enumu e na omokasa na se MPP amanyako adan mode eye mamanyako no e kwhye eye IMF insana ene mom ye hu abusi amomra na momachirem mesra mo MPP mpanifo momachirem comment section wo mihia mo ho edi enti na make sa wo wuche video ekotie ba ya e kame akoye se na se nei Kennedy e ba no se ebia on introduce ne ho a ono so ni mu de enye se sabe wan sisuku dem wo ko bi ekita certificate upon certificate just o ye businessman inti eye den anase ko ni BBC a want me nka brofo ana Dr. Mahmood Bawumia et brofo sen ana okay fine yate ase digitalization nipa no kra wo no de ba ye ekosi ne san digital na yi ni bo ho enti ene ensam amudi twa na we ni mo bia ne okọ comment section ho esimpie wo bia de Kennedy no kware Kennedy obi a wone de wotwe no mutan competent be ye pe wo beto ama Kennedy akompreko because sabre ye hia digitalization bia ye hia education bia se Kennedy akọ school so won ko school wo mu hia Kennedy edienti yese enei si ye calculate o man Ghana wo ma abedi so a hwan ni nipa ye betimi de nsesi ni bo aka se eba no ebia Ghana ha se ya wa bia nyuma bebrebe esen Kennedy yese bra na mmachirem wase bra na bekirem Kennedy abie ne nsa tre ne nsa emenei se ye ka Ghana ha efie mpa wo enumpo bobo na ne anyuma de inti sabre ye bra wo mu hia businessman almost aye digitalization ahwe ena almost wo ma sabe wo ma ko school adu akire ahwe but nei wo mu hia businessman mo fa mo brofo nko because wo se wo hu obi asabe wo bewu ni akasa kire dibra wo school awoko ye certificate any degree awanya wo ni ye bia ye nya wukum da bi ebi nsida inti sabre die ye se Dr. Mahmood Bawumia sa wupo sa wumpo Brian Champon any wo ma keka ho wo bia ye se nka mon step down en fa ma Kennedy akompreko because abrede ye besi uso anke ye woma Kennedy ye obi asabe ene wo hwe nnwuma ne niam papa we biebie nkurafo a wo boa wo ma ani nnwuma na wo tre ni hyiemu abre nyina Kennedy try ne best so obema Ghana etumpom timunya mo selfishness no na munya se de amoye no ene yeso ye nto obi ani obeto frank obe guarantee o mu vote e de ama eye doctor anase Brian Champon wo mo ekeka ho wo si nipa wo bi animu no ken because ya so nsu ahwe ne ya so ansan so ahwe ye hwa Kennedy abra ye hia obi o justice man ene Kennedy wo kana adwen wo ya ade a wo bi a ne maame kra ya ade na enya wo si pre ne 32 ka kire no wo bi a ne ba ya ade na enya wo sibiri ne 32 ka kire no timamufo sa wo ya MPP sa wo ya NDC sa wo ya CPP papa yi mfa hu ntibiri a wo no be simpie so aka no kwawe a kire wo sa nipa we ene wo mo si wo mu hia yes wo mo pe book long bia wo mabrabom oma so ene book long na ntimi amoayen wo man Ghana ha nti wo mu de wo mu hwemu a nipa Ghana wo stress Ghana ento abama no Kennedy akompreko Japan sabre die wono ana obi expect say Kennedy ye man chance na Kennedy mra because Kennedy obi a wo bi adon nkola adon mre wadon wo bi a second enti we abusia na efensa wa baso ani die ma we ene insem bi a ye kohwe eba ye ni die ma say on subscribe to your channel na bomo de answer obe subscribe na wa like na wa share na do comment aka ho de amaye ebrepam ye besan ehia edin no de shodi makwam